Today, we bring you a Halloween version of cringe essays. So we're going to be counting down the cringiest introductions we've seen, essay version. I'm always terrified when I see these openings. Number one, the first one we're going to talk about is called the quote overload. As Albert Einstein once said, imagination is more than knowledge. This quote has guided my life in every way. I have chills.
I hate quotes, I'm sorry. Why do we hate quotes?
So I always say the personal statement has to be
Personal.
and when you open with somebody else's words, kind of defeats the purpose a little bit.
Maybe this person wants us to feel like he's Einstein.
But instead I got chills
I know.
and goosebumps, and not in a good way.
Yeah. It's not even just famous people or quotes, it's like someone else's quote.
My mom always
Yeah, things like that. I'm like, I mean, it could be, but it just never goes really well and as an intro hook.
2. The overdramatic birth story. On a rainy morning in March 2007, I entered this world crying but determined.
Wow, 2007. That's all I remember. That's young.
People born in 2007?
Wow. Well, you entered the world crying. Who doesn't? If you don't enter a world crying, you're not going to enter this world.
Well, I would like to first say that a lot of students write this actually as their hook because I think they think it's dramatic. But okay, disclaimer. Being born is your mom's accomplishment, not yours.
Ouch. I think your mom was more determined than you, so probably it's not a very factual situation anyways. But yeah, no over dramatic birth story. So I've actually seen this, but when it worked well was in like extreme situations where you're like, I was born in a prison cell. Obviously, like we know what's coming, but unless you have this real like factual like message to share with us, I don't think your birth really matters. But you matter, not your case of birth moment.
All right, number 3, it's the resume dump start. So we always say, don't make your essay a resume. But some kids take this a step further and open with the resume. From volunteering at food pantry to playing varsity soccer and founding 3 clubs, I have always been a leader.
Can I fall asleep?
Oh, hang on.
I've already read that on your activity list. I probably have seen that on your honors list. Don't give me that. If you say anything about volunteer, club, leader, I do not want to see that on a personal statement.
And you're probably sick of us saying this. Imagine how sick the admissions officers are of reading the same essay.
They read, I think, maybe like 10, 20, 30 times more than us, so probably it's gonna be a lot more cliche than you think.
Ooh, I love this one. The life is a journey cliche. Life is like a roller coaster full of ups and downs, twists and turns. Okay, first of all, I'm really sorry to say this, but nobody gets life advice from an 18-year-old, right? Everything should be exciting, everything should be new, everything should be glistening. Yeah, there were some challenges, but it's most likely not enough challenges to say what life is like. Like, it makes sense if you're 50, but just not yet. It'll get there, just not yet.
Yeah. And you gotta remember who's reading it. I mean, we're a bit young, but the admission officers may not be young. You can think of the most average admission officers to be in their like, mid-40s, sometimes younger teams. I mean, younger people are there on the team, but still, they're older than you. You don't want to make yourself sound like you are their friend, because you're not.
You know what this kind of sounds like? Like when you meet like a 6-year-old and when they're like, oh, when I was little, it's like, you're still little.
Yeah.
Or when they're like, oh, when I was young, but you're 6 right now. And it's kind of a similar idea. All right, top 5. The tragic but vague sob story. So already from a sob story, I'm not really on board with this essay, but hear me out. My life has been filled with countless struggles that have shaped me into who I am today.
It's like the roller coaster and the birth story and everything.
And you already gave away the ending.
Yeah.
But I still don't know who you are. So I feel like this is almost like an emotional manipulation on your essay without really giving it any substance.
Well then, we have the top 5. But how would you actually fix some of those really horrible intros?
Let's start with the quote overload. So when you overload somebody with quotes, it's like, okay, you're starting off with somebody else's words. So Yumi, I have a question for you. If you're writing a personal statement, what's the most important thing about it?
Being personal?
Oh my gosh!
I'm a genius!
And honestly, if you're personal in your writing, you already have 50% of it done. Like that's the hard part, figuring out that story you want to write with. So open with it. If that's the highlight, the climax of your story, I want to see that like bam in your face. What are you known for? Like what are you interesting about? That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah. Could you give me an example of a really good quote that you've seen?
Oh, maybe this one. When I was 8, I built a spaceship. Yeah, like other people might call it a shoebox, but to me, it was a spaceship. So I guess like this kid was building like a spaceship with their shoebox, but it was like make-believe. But to him, it meant like a lot, right? It's not just a shoebox.
Yeah, it sets the scene too. I'm like curious to know what about it. Well, the fix for top 2 then.
So remember we had the over-dramatic birth story?
The kids.
Born in 2007.
Well, you should talk about yourself, right? So the real beginning of my story came as I froze before giving a class presentation. Enter stage fright.
Oh,
Right?
Again, sets the stage.
Yeah, and you weren't born. So instead of writing what you did as a resume, I want your personal statement to talk about things that we don't know about, right? So my fondest leadership role was not one-manning 30 team members at NHS, but rather trying to get my younger brother to take a bite of broccoli. And let's face it, it's so hard to get kids to eat vegetables. I am guilty of not liking vegetables, even at my current age. I don't like vegetables. I don't know why we have to eat broccoli. And don't get me started on cauliflower.
Okay, well, I think you should try to watch our how to add your extracurriculars onto your essays video. Hint, don't do it on your personal statement. I know we already put like NHS on here, but it's just like to set the scene. We're not talking about NHS in and of itself. We're talking about something bigger. That's the real story of this essay.
And a lot of students don't want to write about like babysitting or like, watching their younger brother and sister. But honestly, I feel like you guys learn a lot by doing that. So it's like, why not talk about that? You don't put that on your extracurriculars or on your honors. You're not an honorary brother for looking after your little brother, but it's something that is a true learning experience, and that's kind of what we want to see. The next one that we want to talk about is the whole life is a journey cliche. Remember the roller coaster? I ride roller coasters to have fun, but all these high schoolers seem to have different ideas.
Yeah, it's like, my life.
Okay, so I'm just gonna put it out there. Not everything in life is a learning opportunity. Sometimes you just ride a roller coaster to have fun.
You go to Disneyland to have fun, not to learn about life.
Yeah, so instead of trying to like force things that you didn't really learn from, it's better to kind of, talk about things that make sense. So for example, I learned how to be resourceful one night as I was sneaking up into our house. The challenge, there was a behemoth of a moth, pun intended, in front of our door. Well, that means its wingspans rival that of a hawk, so obviously I couldn't enter through the front door. So for the next 20 minutes, I had to find a way to sneakily open the garage without being caught by my nosy sister or our schnauzer. So this kind of shows how to be resourceful. Well, I'm not saying sneak into your house in the middle of the night, but it also gives you an idea of an interesting story of how you climbed through the chimney and broke your clavicle.
Life is a journey, but that's like a very good message type of journey.
And it's something that other people can like also agree with. It's scary.
Yeah, I can like picture the person with the moth, and I hate bugs, so I would be I will resonate with the kid.
This is actually from my true story because I had a peppered moth that was like literally this big on my front door, and no, I screamed.
Of course, you have to like get someone to take that out. Anyways, there's a good fix.
Last one, the tragic but vague sob story. So remember the ones that's like, I had so many issues. Okay, so your first sentence dictates how you're gonna be seen by the admissions office. You want them to have a good profile photo of yourself. You don't want to be crying. Like you don't take a passport photo like crying and be like, please let me into other countries. So start with something that's funny, humorous, that gives a good first impression. My greatest struggle in middle school was convincing my parents that competitive Mario Kart would count as an extracurricular activity.
I love Mario Kart. I resonate with this kid.
But I'm terrible at it.
But at least this is the thing, right? We want to connect with the reader. And don't make them pity you when you're talking about tragic stories, or you want to anything about it, right? Because you want them to see you in a very positive light, not think about you as like someone, It's not a philanthropic thing that you're doing. Otherwise, yeah, those are really bad hooks and good hooks that we talked about today. Hopefully, if you're seeing this in your essay right now, or you feel like it kind of overlaps with these topics, you might want to fix them using the recommendation that Lisa and I just recommended. And otherwise, if you have any other questions, you can leave in the comments and we'll be able to help you out. Otherwise, if this video was helpful, please like and subscribe our channel. Otherwise, we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.